Hi everybody, thanks for joining me. I am Lynn Schmaltz with Plasma Energy Solution, and this is, it's March 1st, 2020. How time flies when we're having fun, huh? So today I want to talk about something new, and that is called virus relief. There's a lot of information out there, and so I want to share with you my experience and my attitude about seeking out information. How do you discern what's real and what's fake? Well, let's look at it this way. Let's suppose you have 3 beautiful cakes on 3 beautiful cake platters. The icing, they're fully iced, they're the round layer types of cakes. And you look at each one of them. Excuse me, I should have turned this off and I didn't. You look at each cake and you go, well, that looks like chocolate cake with chocolate icing. And sure enough, it does. So you pick a cake, and I'm sorry, I'm just going to get this on. There we go. No more clicking and stuff. All right, so you go to cake number 1, you cut into it, and you take a nice slice and put it on a plate. You go to cake number 2, you do the same thing. You go to cake number 3, and you do the same thing. Now, all 3 cakes looked exactly alike. But what if cake number 1 was really cornbread with chocolate frosting? What if cake number 2 was chocolate cake with chocolate frosting? What if cake number 3 was manure shaped into a cake with frosting? You don't know that until you dig into the cake and you cut the cake and look at the slice. So I'm just saying that's the way I view a lot of news sources, and particularly in my case, just because of my own discernment. I'm not saying you need to do this, but it would be with the media that I grew up with in the household and the media that I stopped listening to somewhere along the line. Okay, so about this virus. I'm going to put out a blog on our website, and it's going to come out tomorrow. And if you decide you want to read it, that's great. I did a lot of digging for this, and here's an interesting statement. What if this virus is called the telephone disease? Why would it have that name? All right, there's an article here that talks about the CT scans of patients that had radiation-induced lung injury are very similar to the CT scans of patients infected with a certain virus that's in the headlines. So let me see if you can see. I actually have a couple pictures here, I think. And of course, when you want something at your fingertips, here it is. Okay, so this is the scan of both types of disease. This was brought to the forefront by scientists and radiologists who have come out and spoken against 5G. So that's one article that we have going on. And one thing they brought up is that the first country to show up with it in the first area had launched 5G. The next country to show up with a lot of infections of this virus had launched 5G. Cruise ships use 5G for the convenience of their passengers who want instant access to internet and communications. So there were some symptoms that they went through that are, according to the World Health Organization, are fever, tiredness, and dry cough. And according to the U.S. CDC, it's fever, cough, and shortness of breath. And according to scientists at Johns Hopkins, all symptoms are exactly the ones people would have if they were infected with the flu virus. So here's what happens if you have radiation-induced lung injury. Grade 1, mild symptoms of dry cough on exertion. Grade 2, persistent cough requiring narcotic anti-russive agents and or okay, I'm going to slaughter that word, with minimal exertion but not at rest. Grade 3, severe cough that is non-responsive to narcotic agents or dyspepnia at rest or radiographic evidence of acute pneumonitis. Grade 4, severe respiratory insufficiency that requires continuous oxygen or assisted ventilation. Grade 5, death. All right, now, what are the dangers posed by the 5G technologies that are being introduced around our country? You'll find a lot more information in the blog that I will put up on the website probably by March 2nd or March 3rd. The second article is titled, What is 5G and How Do You Protect Yourself from EMF Exposure? And EMF is electromagnetic frequency exposure. All right, what are the health concerns with it? What about 5G and EMFs in general and potential health effects? What are they? Oxidative stress, headache, insomnia, immune system dysfunction, thyroid dysfunction, infertility, blindness, deafness, fatigue, migraines, depression, cancer. So how do you protect yourself? And this article goes into a little detail, but very obviously, you can switch off 5G on your devices. You can put them in airplane mode. You can get your Wi-Fi in check. Keep electronics out of your bedroom. Shield yourself. And I've really tried to emphasize these, especially with the kids, with my grandkids. Don't carry these things in your pocket. Distance is your friend. And just as a matter of course, every night I turn off all the Wi-Fi in the house. I turn off the electronics. I turn off the phones. And that's one way that I choose to deal with it. Now, the next thing would be, and I'm giving you links for these articles. There was an interview with Ken Schwartz, a scientist, and Sarah Westall, and I've put that link in my blog. And he's discussing what happens with microwaves and how it affects the cells in the body. And I think you might find that interesting. And basically he's saying 5G creates inflammation. All right? And it gets into the lungs. It can cause a hyperimmune response where the lungs are flooded with fluid and with white blood cells. It can do heart damage. And one of the things that helps all of that is glutathione. Now, glutathione is generally found in the foods that you're eating, and not it's more effective from the foods that you're eating and not from the supplements. So there's all the information that he provides. Now there's another article that I have here, and it's going to go into more on 5G and more on possible recommendations. And there's a lot of information available, especially from Mike Adams, who runs his own laboratory. He runs his own manufacturing of supplements, of assembling long-term storage foods, and he's a scientist. He's an online he does podcasts and blogging and videos and things like that. But he's been on this early on. Now he is married to a woman from Taiwan. Mike and his wife both speak Mandarin Chinese. They've been ahead of the curve on a lot of the information because he has a company in Taiwan and they have family in Taiwan. So they're getting what I would call news from the ground, okay? So I'd suggest that you look into some of that information. So what have I done about this? I've come up with never-ending plasma energy virus relief. And there are a lot of layers to this that are including the GANs of many things that help support the body, that help support the lungs, that help support, for instance, with the GANs of CBD, which is for inflammation, the GANs of C60, which is for inflammation, the GANs of stem cell, the GANs of glutathione, the GANs of star anise, which happens to be a very ancient Asian remedy for flu viruses. So there's a lot of layers to this, and that will be on the website, available March. It should be up there by March 2nd. And if you see this video earlier and want to order something or inquire about it, just send something to Lynn at plasmaenergysolution.com. Lynn at plasmaenergysolution.com. Send your email there and I'll respond to it. Now, why would I do this? You know, we're 70 to 80% water. If we change the quality of the water in our bodies and in our cells, we can become walking containers of protective energies. So while many people are focused on, oh my gosh, is this the right kind of mask? Do I wear and just for your information, because these masks have been around for years, and Paul used something similar when he used to do surgery. When you wear the dark side in, the darker side, as you see, this is a darker blue and this is a lighter blue, that holds any germs you might have from getting on to a patient. So when you wear yes, and then when you wear the dark side out, I may have said this wrong. Dark side out means you're protecting the patient. Dark side in means you're protecting yourself. Now, there's a lot of articles and information that says this is not going to be adequate because viruses can enter also through the eyes. So there's a suggestion for protective eyewear. Well, the other thing, viruses can enter through the ears. Those are wide open, and I don't hear anybody talking about the ears. So rather than try to plug up everything on your head, I'm saying take a spray bottle before you leave the house, spray yourself all over the place. Okay, you don't have to drench yourself, just give a light misting. And those energies are going to be in your clothing, on your skin, And then you can, if you feel like you need a mask, go ahead and spray the mask. The same with the glasses. Don't have a mask, and I'll tell you what, I tried to order some just to have on hand, unavailable. So we still have bandanas, we still have scarves. You can use those. And I saw some infused scarves online. I happened to be looking, I got an email today, and they're infused with nanoparticles, $49. Go find your bandanas and scarves. They're free. Just get your virus relief and spray them and then use them. If you're purchasing from out of the country, of course, you're going to get a pair of patches that I send. And if you're purchasing in the country, you're going to get a vial of the virus relief. And I want to go into some of the shortages because I was trying to be circumspect, low-key, and what I have personally come into in the last few days in ordering things are shortages. Okay, the vials, these little vials that I just showed you. The last time I got an order, it wasn't this size. They just filled it with a different size. Then I placed an order just yesterday, and I generally get orders within 2 to 3 days, and the information is may ship by April 15th. This is March 1st. That isn't instant delivery, is it? Here's some other things that have come up on shortages. And the issue is with supply chain, because it really takes years to build up a supply chain. When you're manufacturing and you're putting together relationships with vendors, you know, you've got to go into the credit relationships and things like that. Now, I happened to be talking to my delivery man who was bringing some packages the other day, because here's the issue for me. I'm sending things to you in vials. I'm sending things to you in packages. Those vials are wrapped in bubble wrap. Those packages are taped with plastic packing tape. Where do those all come from? You got it. China. Okay, most of them. Then the phone magnets have little round double-sided stickers on them, so you can stick it onto your phone like I've done here, and you could stick it onto your computers and everything like that. These are the shungite and silver magnets. And by the way, New Tech Frequency Relief is part of the virus relief because of the issue of frequencies that may be present in some viruses, okay? So things are slowing down in what I'm trying to get. And what we're being told is the shipments, there are no more shipments leaving China right now because the manufacturing is shut down right now in a lot of the companies. So there's going to be a time lag if they do come back online. Is there going to be a time lag as they may have to train new people? So we're sitting here where we have a one-source supply for many things. There was a man interviewed who rebuilds engines for different kinds of older cars, or just for cars, okay? And it's in the secondary market where people are rebuilding, making cars last longer. He can't get a certain kind of piston ring. And he said in the interview, I got the last pair of piston rings in North America. Now he cannot produce that particular engine. He may have others he can still produce. But if we're not manufacturing things, let's say we are manufacturing them. Well, let's say you need to have a couple little screws to hold everything together. Oh, sorry, we're out of those. they come from overseas. So the long-term impact may not be the illness that people are trying to avoid, but the disruption in what has been our rapid delivery supply system. So be very mindful of that, and be mindful of what you have on hand. I hope your pantry is more than a can of green beans, a can of soup, and a box of crackers. If it isn't, if that was my pantry, I'd sure want to add a little to it. And don't forget your plasma pantry, because the plasma energy of all these things that we're talking about that can support the body, you get one time and then you have it. And you're not having to come to me and say, Lynn, I've got to reorder on that. I've got to get another one. I ran out or whatever. So be mindful of your plasma pantry. 80 to 97% of our medications come from China. And I want you to ponder that fact with me. It's been hard not to have Paul here. We were together 54 years. And I'm happy to say at the end of 54 years, we could still look at each other and say, I love you, and mean it. And I hope you guys are saying that daily to your loved ones. What made this an easier pill for me to swallow is the thought that if medication delivery stopped, it would be a matter of time before Paul went through kidney failure again. Now, granted, he had made up the meds, a GANs of the meds, and hopefully that would have worked. He did not have a GANs of the injectable insulin. And when a type 1 diabetic, and maybe even the type 2 diabetics, don't have their insulin, that is where all the breakdown in the body starts happening. So if you're a type 2 diabetic, I'm going to suggest right now that you go look at the 6 videos that we've made available that Paul talked a lot about diabetes and managing diabetes. I'm going to put some other videos up in the coming weeks that he did when he was trying to put together a diabetes workshop, which never got completed. But you need to realize that things are going to break down for you. We have a diabetes kit. We have that available to help support the body. Look online, do your research. What are the nutritional things you can do with supplements or with your foods? And having said that about supplements, there's something that I want to work with in making one of the GANs that is now on back order. So I'm waiting for something. There it is again, shortages. So please, please take a good look at your pantry. And I do want to mention also in virus relief, there's a layer added that is for anxiety, because there's a lot of anxiety building up about how things are going in the, say, financially, in the supply, and just in the overall health conditions. So please take care of yourselves. Please love and care and share with one another. And don't forget to tell those loved ones in your lives that you actually do love them. Okay, well, thanks for being with me, and look for my blog. It will be on the website, and there will be a March special. I'll put that up in a couple of days, so you can also look for that. And I appreciate your taking the time. Be sure and check the website, plasmaenergysolution.com, and have a great rest of your day and a good March. Thank you, and if you've liked this video, please give me a thumbs up and share it with your friends.